Sit back every Sunday and watch your team win. Entry fees start at just $1, and anyone can play. Last week, I went with Sam Bradford. I'll talk to Jeff in a minute whether that's a smart move to go forward with week number 2. But it cost me this week because no touchdowns. Go to FanDuel.com. Click on microphone in the upper right-hand corner. Use my code 973. Sign up now. Special offer for new users. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match up to $200. That gets earned as you play. That's a bonus of up to $200. It's only good for the first 50 people that use my code 973 today. Don't forget, use my code 973. FanDuel.com. Where every day's a new season. That's FanDuel.com. Sign up today. All right, let's bring Jeff Pasquino in from FootballGuys.com. Week number 1 in the books, Jeff. We got a Thursday night game tonight, as we do each and every week. We'll let you start off with some of the guys that you want to see in people's lineups for tonight's Thursday night game.
Well, tonight's a little bit iffy. We got a short week. Kansas City is hosting Denver, and these two, they definitely don't like each other within the division. Denver did not look very good against Baltimore last week, so I really would be questionable with using almost everyone with Denver right now. And Kansas City's favorite, and they're playing very slowly. The only player I'm really interested in is Travis Kelce and maybe Jamal Charles. Those are about the only two guys I think are safe picks for this week. And normally we don't see too much fancy production on Thursday.
Is that to say that you are starting to pull away from Peyton Manning?
I'm starting to. I'm hearing that there's a lot going on behind the scenes with Denver right now. It remains to be seen how that offense is really going to shape up. But between questions that whether C.J. Anderson or Ronnie Hillman is going to be the guy, or Peyton's going to be the long-term answer with his arm, I'm staying away from that situation, especially this week.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, FootballGuys.com. If you have a question, text ESPN and your question now to the number 89,000. We'll try to get as many things as we can in. I want to start off with the quarterback spot. Let's go with locally Sam Bradford here. A lot of yards, 52 passes. Is he a guy you feel comfortable with against Dallas this week?
I think so. You got to look at that Vegas line being over 55 points this week, so they're taking a lot of production. Bradford spreads the ball around. Obviously, he likes Jordan Matthews the most right now, but he can throw it to Sproles, he can throw it to Aguilar, he can throw it all over the place. I think the touchdowns will come on that volume, and they play. They have a ton of snaps. So I like Bradford at the top 8 pick this week.
How about Mariota last week? 4 touchdowns. Should fantasy owners get him in their lineup this week?
I think that said more about the Tampa Bay defense and how bad they were than it is an indictment or an exclamation of, yes, Mariota's the guy. I think Mariota has a long growth curve. It's an upward trajectory for sure. But this week against Cleveland, I'm lowering expectations. I have him as a quarterback, too.
What happens to Romo on your list without Des Bryant?
The funny thing is I think that Romo is going to adapt well. I think that he's going to spread the ball around. Cole Beasley, I think Lance Dunbar, who we saw with 8 catches last week, even Escobar, tight end, is going to get worked in. Witten, Williams, all those guys around him. He has enough targets to spread the ball around and probably rack up 300 yards. I don't see a number 1 wide receiver emerging, but I see Witten as being a good value and Romo doing pretty well against the Eagles this week.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, FootballGuys.com. Let's go to running backs. Carlos Hyde burst on the scene the other night. 26 carries, 168, 2 touchdowns. Fantasy stud. Will that continue?
Well, he's got a great matchup against Pittsburgh, who New England ran against all night against on opening night. So I think Hyde is going to be the number 1 guy this week. I think it is a short week for San Francisco, which is all the more reason to rely on a running back. But he's got fresh legs. He's on the younger side of his career. I think that he's going to see a lot of both carries and receptions, with Reggie Bush also out sidelined for a calf injury.
Jeff, obviously with the leading rusher in the league last year with only 9 yards, how's your feeling on DeMarco Murray?
I think Murray will come around. He voted that touchdown that probably was for Jordan Matthews that wasn't reviewed, or actually that went to Ryan Matthews. I'm sorry. But I think Murray will get plenty of touches. I think that Chip Kelly, he's a kid in the candy store with all the different options he has on offense. Murray will get his, and I think this is the week. I think you'll probably see a lot of him this week against his former team.
What about LeGarrette Blount coming back this week? You feel confident putting him in as the New England back?
No, I don't, because I think Deion Lewis is going to be splitting the backfield with him. So I think I would temper expectations until we see how Belichick really uses them. And then even then, who knows, because he changes from week to week. He really does matchups. So Blunt could be 4 touchdowns or could have 0, and Lewis could be the guy. So I'm really tempering expectations. I would have him no higher than a running back 2 this week.
All right, let's go to wideouts. A couple lesser-known guys burst on the scene last week. Dante Moncrief, should he be playing in week number 2?
I think Moncrief is going to have a very good week this week. He had a solid week last week with Hilton getting hurt. Now he's going to be the number 1 for Andrew Luck. But the Colts have to win that game. They can't fall 0-2 in the AFC. They'll be poised to win that game. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than people really expect, because the Jets will try and run against the Colts, and they were run on pretty hard by Buffalo last week. But I think that Moncrief is a solid wide receiver, too, with upside.
Keenan Allen had 15 catches last week. Can we anticipate him being that big of a role, being that big of a role week to week?
I think so. Him and Stevie Johnson, you're going to see a ton of targets and catches going forward. The touchdowns will come for Allen. On that volume, it's just a matter of when, not if. And as long as Antonio Gates is sidelined and suspended for the 4 weeks, Phillip Rivers is going to look in the directions for both those guys.
All right, last receiver before we get a couple quick questions in for Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Sammy Watkins, no catches last week. Is he a guy that you're leery of?
I am leery of him because I think New England is going to be even tougher for Tyrod Taylor. I think that Percy Harvin got a long touchdown, so everybody's talking about him, but Tyrod didn't really do much to the air. It was all on the ground for Buffalo, so I would temper expectations for all the receivers. Rex Ryan wants to run the ball, and he wants to play defense, so New England is going to give a lot of looks that Tyrod Taylor has never seen before, and that's going to make it for a long game for Tyrod this week.
All right, a couple quick questions, quickies for Jeff Pasquino. Would you start Matt Ryan or Carson Palmer?
I love him. I also like Matt Ryan, so I would think Ryan close call, though.
Lamar Miller or Chris Ivory?
Again, I like both those options, but I think I like Ivory against the Colts because the defense is better, but I think Miller is a high-end running back, too, because Miami wants to run the ball.
Benny Cunningham, worth a start in St. Louis?
No, that question, I would stay away from that backfield because we're looking at running backs getting healthy now, so Cunningham's touches may go down a lot this week.
What are you doing with Arian Foster this week?
I'm leaving him on my bench until I know that he's healthy. He's on the comeback trail. I don't think it comes this week. I think next week he's in there, though.
All right, he's Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. If you have more fantasy football questions each week, send your questions in here. Text ESPN and your question to the number 89,000. Don't forget, set your lineups tonight, Thursday Night Football. Jeff Pasquino. Good luck, Jeff.
Good luck, Mike.
All right, that is Jeff Pasquino from the footballguys.com here on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, coming up in the next hour, John McMullen joins me here for his weekly or his daily look at Philadelphia Eagles. You can read John's stuff right now on 97.3 ESPN.com. And, of course, right now he's got 5 on the boys. We'll talk to him about the Cowboys coming up in the next hour, and we'll get his Thursday practice report as the Eagles at the NovaCare Center today. We'll get the update on the Birds from John coming up at 4:05. Also at 4:30 today, at 4:05 today, we got a big announcement for you. We want to tell how you can get involved starting Monday. Really cool event coming up. We'll tell you more details on that coming on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. All right, when we come back, I got the announcement, so don't go away. Stick around for that, plus John at 4:05 here on the Sports Bash.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff is brought to you by Seaview Dental Arts in Galloway, where they say,
your smile is our commitment.